always online games are starting to become more of a thing. From my recollection, it all started with SimCity 4 and Diablo 3. I'm sure someone will say, but there are others out there. And yes, I'm sure there are, but these are the ones that quickly jumped to my mind. The hype of always being online was something new that most gamers were afraid of. Gamers that didn't always have access to the internet were worried with good reason and that they wouldn't be able to experience these types of games, let alone rolling the dice that servers would be an issue when you tried to log on. Well, in the case of the two games mentioned above, the nightmares became reality. Servers were constantly having issues on SimCity, let alone the Diablo error that plagued the game at launch that just about crippled the game's cult following. Always online games are and can be a scary thing. Now let's jump to the present. We have titles like Titanfall, The Division, Destiny, and a handful of others that are always online. These games have learned from the downfalls of always online games before it, and it made jumps to make the experience better. So, does Overwatch do the same, or does it improve on the always online experience? Overwatch went live at 7 p.m. Eastern on May 23rd. I was loaded and ready to go on my PC, but I wasn't able to get on until 7:15 p.m. So in my own opinion, not bad of a start at all for a launch. When the game starts, Winston the gorilla gives you a little background as to what and who Overwatch is. Visually, during this introduction, the game looks jaw-dropping. The attention to detail, not just on the characters, but in the backgrounds, are so lovely to look at. The animation on Winston's face, his mannerisms, the way the light and shadow is in this segment are perfectly on point. I've played in both the alpha and the beta, and the visual improvement is amazing. It definitely didn't look this sharp in the pre-release stages, especially in-game. But now it's bright and colorful with tons of detail everywhere. As I mentioned before, Winston does a brief breakdown of what Overwatch is. There is a lore and a background to this unique world, but you aren't gonna find it in this game anywhere. You get this additional info from the animated shorts. These shorts point out who's the good and bad guys in Overwatch. The shorts are fantastic to watch in my opinion. There are some mind-blowing visual overloads in this thing, and others are straight up wall-to-wall action. They're fantastic. They also give a bit of background for each of the characters in the game. It's worth a watch if you haven't done so already. When I logged on the first day, I did have a few server drops, but they were far and few in between. So I'd have to say that this was by far a very successful launch. As the days rolled on, the servers seemed to be even more on point, finding games very quickly and the loading times being very fast as well. Alright, let's get down to the gameplay. Now that we have the intro out of the way, let's get into the meat of this game, okay? The gameplay is by far the most balanced, easy to pick up, action-packed, and frantic team-based game that you are going to play this year. When most devs have betas, they say that they listen to player feedback, but once the game is released, there are still those issues that plague the beta that the folks constantly bitched about but never got fixed. This isn't the case with Overwatch. Blizzard had an open ear and seemed to listen to most, if not all, of the player complaints from the betas. The tweaks on the hitboxes, making them more on point, headshots now give better critical hits like it should, and nerfing some of the overpowered characters like Bastion. All the way down to increasing the running speed for Mercy and the other mages in the game. In my opinion, they tweaked a lot of the things and just made this game even better. If you aren't a team player, this isn't the game for you. You will not come out of this game with a win if you don't play as a team. People need to understand this. Everyone in your squad has an important role, from being a tank to defending and even healing. The healer is the most underrated player in this game in my opinion. Every time I would play with randoms, folks would refuse to play as the healer. Healers like Mercy have the best abilities in ults in my opinion. For example, Mercy can heal through walls and give damage boosts to players, and her ult is basically a revive for anyone who's down. She's not the best fighter, but she does have great evasive ability, being able to fly to teammates and get out of the frantic action. but people can't seem to bite the bullet and play a character that's going to benefit their team. I would always lose in games when I had teammates like this, because they refuse to humble themselves and be the healer. While on the other hand, when you do have teammates that will play to benefit the team and sacrifice to be a player that the team needs, you're going to have a much greater win rate across the board. The controls are so on point. When using the mouse and keyboard in the game, it feels so right and natural. All of the buttons are so close to each other. The game even feels great when you play with a controller. But folks may need to tweak with the sensitivity when using the sticks. I did notice that the cursor was just way too fast when trying to look around and shoot folks. Accessibility is another thing that Overwatch does so well. Whether you're colorblind or have some type of disability where you can't use standard controls or standard peripherals, the game caters to the player. More games should have features like this to give a wider audience to the game by giving more customizable options like this. I mean, variety is the fruit of life, right? So let's get back to the characters, okay? There's a fabulous roster with a wide variety of folks to choose from mechs, robots, ninjas, to archers, and the run-of-the-mill standard FPS character in Soldier 77. The variety is there, and each character has their own vibe and abilities about them. They're all very well done. They all have their individual strengths and weaknesses. I mentioned before about the balance that this game has, and it's very true. Some of you will disagree with me and say, no, Bastion is one OP bitch, or say the same about another character. But the fact of the matter is that if you think this way, you are wrong as hell. Every single character in Overwatch has a specific weakness and counter character. This is huge since if you have, say, a whole team of Bastions, which this actually happened to me in a game, that you can counter this team with a group setup of Widowmaker, Junkrat, Hanzo, and Reaper. These guys not only do massive damage to Bastion, but they can end up one-hit killing Bastion if you hit his critical weak point. This is why I feel Overwatch is so balanced. Everyone has a weakness to certain characters and also have critical weak points on their body. Let's not get this twisted either. Headshots aren't always a character's critical weak spot. You guys will need to find that out on your own through various matches and see whose weak points are where, because they all vary. Overall, I would give this game a 9.5 out of 10. There isn't any sign of a campaign anywhere, but that doesn't make the game weak in any way. The game has a variety of game modes that vary depending on the maps that you're on. All of the maps are all around fantastic and well balanced, well, besides Hollywood in my opinion. You can also tweak up your game by playing with AI, you can make custom matches with friends, and you can also partake in the weekly brawls for massive XP bonuses and loot boxes. The game does have microtransactions where you can purchase unlocks or loot boxes, but in no way, shape, or form does this give a pay-to-win formula. They are basically just unlocks for skins, emotes, voiceovers, and spray paints. You can make purchases or just play to unlock. Each character has about 52 unlocks, so there's a ton of unlocks to be had. Also, the in-game voice chat feature is on point, allowing you to switch from team and community chat on the fly. The matchmaking is also up to par, balancing you with people within your own skill level, but you may occasionally be paired up with a person that's already prestiged, but this happens very far and few in between. One of my biggest gripes about the game is the play of the game. Granted, it's not always Bastion all the time now like in the alpha and the betas, but the replays are generally weak as hell. There are times where you're going on a rampage and get a 5-player streak instantly by using an ult or just gunning down folks in rapid succession, only to be overshadowed by a character who got a 2-piece or a triple kill. The kills weren't even that flashy or amazing either. This needs to be tweaked up a bit. The plays of the game should be just that, a play of the game. Either a rapid 6-player kill streak by an ult, or a quick kill streak by killing multiple people in succession, or a killer play that totally changes the scope of the match. A play of the game could also be more than just killing people. It could be where a player revives a good portion of the squad or healing a tank that's mowing down folks in an objective match like the payload or whatnot. These are other aspects, in my opinion, that could be plays of the game. Matchmaking should also be tweaked up a bit to find matches faster when you're in a full squad. Sometimes my group and I spent over 5 minutes trying to find a lobby. That's just not cutting the cake. Also, adding friends should be much easier as well. You should be able to add them at any time rather than switching over to battle.net, typing in their name to find them, and then adding them. Overwatch is a load of fun that anyone can pick up and play. It's one of the reasons that 9 million people played the beta and are playing right now. So my question to you is, when will your watch begin? My name is Cujo, PTFO or GTFO. I'm out.
Let's go, team kill, baby.
That's a good win. And I hope y'all caught when I shot there right now in the air. We got the ball on all of us.
You do know I got the kill, right?
I know I hit that headshot.
I know I'm 39 and 8. We gonna ignore that
I
though.
let you know
My shit will not be ignored, and you will be tagged.
Alright guys, that's gonna be a lag game for me. Somebody else has to play with me, so I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, I'm out too, guys. It's been fun.